Okay, here we go. Robert Hunt is the diving officer, and he's standing right here, and the captain comes down. Or no, the captain wasn't here, so, okay. There's the bow planes, there's the stern planes, the hydraulic manifold, trim manifold, and everybody has to know all of those. These are the guys that are running the bow planes, stern planes with the boat. And then this diving officer here is the guy that makes sure if you're too heavy, then he turns to these guys, he says, blow so many pounds out of forward trim or after trim or wherever. We could go to any tank from right here. This guy, he can pump from any tank there, he can blow from any tank there with air. So you can go either way, but this is the guy that's calling the shots. Now these guys know if you're going to dive, they know so good what he's going to say that they even do it before he even says it. Like he'll say, open the vents. The guy is already, he's got them going. And they finally put the foot down and they said, hey, hold it just a minute. The damn boats are out there and nobody is giving the order. They automatically do the thing. And you got to give the order and you got to get an answer. Anyway, okay, so this is AC-Deucey, and we'll say this airplane. So we're going along and running on the surface, and Bob Hunt is the diving officer. And look out up there, he says, plane, 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 and then the old honker goes, and down we go. So this is, we're diving, so Robert is the diving officer. So open the vents, close the main induction, you know, flood negative, you turn this guy, flood negative, automatically, they're doing it anyway. But you have to say it, and then you have to get an answer. And so then the captain comes charging out, because he knows with the plane up there, he's in his office there. And what he did was he walked over here, and I was the regular on-watch diving officer, so by the time he got here, we had her about 100 feet, and he said, he walked in and he said, take her to 180 feet. And then he talked to a chief that wasn't on watch that was standing here, and he says to the chief, hey, come on, we'll play a game of AC-Deucey. So the chief gets on that side. The captain's here playing AC-Deucey. I'm the diving officer. I had only, when a plane come and an emergency, made 2 or 3 dives, but I'd made a lot of dives, just regular dives, like. But this time the enemy was up there, and I kept looking, when in the hell is captain going to take over this son of a bitch? Because we got a plane up there, you know, and I got her already. I'm down about 90 feet. Well, he said he'd take her to 140, so I just tell the guys, flood 500 gallons into or pounds into negative. Okay, vent negative. All right, shut the vent. Okay, now we got it about where I want it, and then these guys are playing AC-Deucey, and I said, oh shoot. Well, why not? What the hell's the difference? It's like any other dive. And so that was it. And the only time that when I was diving officer that we had to make an emergency dive. Otherwise, we'd make a routine dive, or, you know, and then you just do your thing. But the diving officer didn't have to say anything, because these guys do it automatically anyway, unless the final trim and stuff. Okay. Okay, here's the main table here. This one is the one we always use first, and then if we had too many people,
slide into your spot.
I just got to show you where I sat. So I said, and I said, you slide in there, and Bob was always sitting already. If I wasn't in, they wouldn't get up for you. You had to crawl in there. And this was my spot, because you see, and they always had a pin up there. Now, how come they put one up? Did you tell them? Did you tell them I said we generally had a pin up right here? Sure you did. Huh? Yeah, you did it. That's why for the picture. You put it in up when you went?
I don't know. They just put it. They knew it where it went. I didn't tell them.
Come on now. He says that we generally had a pin up, and I pointed. I generally had a pin up right there, and then here she is.
Yeah.
Ah, you little son of a gun. Here's where I sat.
Somebody to pat for luck.
Then when things were, and the secret to winning at poker is patience. And when you don't got them, just sit and enjoy. And so I had a place to lean, and I knew when to put them in and when to sit from percentages, watching what all the other cards were, because they'd done it for years. And so I just lean back and take a nap, kind of, and these other guys, they couldn't stand to get out of a hand, for crying out loud. That's why they didn't have money to keep coming in, and my cards would just be sitting there. But all of a sudden, I stay, and then the percentages were in my favor, and I just hammered it doing that, see, because I knew percentage-wise. And so anyway, that's what we did, yeah. But this was nice to eat here. But they put these on rollers. Well, I guess they got them locked now. But I was going to say, in rough weather, you notice there's a ridge. And that's to keep everything from sliding off the table. Shoot. And this thing, during a regular meal, was full. There's 3 guys on each side here. Okay. But this was the hangout. The coffee pot was on 24 hours, day and night. The coffee pot was on. And if you wanted a sandwich, we ate at noon, and it's 12 o'clock midnight, and it's 6 o'clock in the morning and 6 at night. So it didn't make any difference whether it's morning or night. You could get breakfast at 6 or breakfast at 6 at night, or a meal at noon or a meal at midnight. It didn't make any difference.
Could you order, or did you just have to take
what they were? We didn't that, but you see, in between meals, he would always set out, if he had some cakes left over or pie left over, it was the bell, he'd make a note, and he'd say, help yourself if you want a piece of pie, we got some left, and coffee was always on, and he'd have cookies, he'd make cookies, and he'd just set them out, you'd help yourself. And the guys would go through, but you didn't have much of an appetite, so.
Okay.
Remember, you know why?
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't go. But they got the military police, one on each side of me, and that's how they took me down there. I said, screw you, I'm not going.
So that you could get a medal.
Well, of course, everybody gets a medal. Shoot, I had the combat band was the best medal I had, and the Asiatic Pacific thing, I had 11 stars on that. That means 11 battles. Where are you going to put 11 stars on one of those bars?
You're saying it took 2 MPs to give you a medal.
Took more than that, because when they got me there, then they had to have, the MPs couldn't pin one on. They had to go talk to some of these other screwballs.
This was when he got his commendation after the 10th War Patrol for his service during that 17-hour
It was Bronze Star. It was a Bronze Star that they were supposed to give.
That's what they recommended.
But they changed it.
Yeah.
But you did it right in the book, because I was recommended for the Bronze Star by Nimitz.
Yeah.
But you see, their Navy doesn't get things right most of the time.
Your Captain Kefauver put you up for the Bronze Star, and what came down was the commendation from Nimitz.
That's when they finally pinned it on me. But that didn't mean diddly squat to me. I didn't care what it was. But the thing was, they couldn't take away the 11 battle stars. See, that's 11 medals. Now, if you wanted to put 11, you could put 11 of those medals on, because I did it 11 times. The Asiatic Pacific, well, you have to know about those things, but if you knew, then you can put stars on there. Well, then I'd have to put 11 stars on there. That's stupid, you know.